Hello, hello, and welcome to Bla Bla Black Sheep, a weekly yarny podcast where I, Sarah Korth of SEK Handmade, answer your yarny questions. Welcome. I am so glad that you are here, friends. We're just going to do something crazy and dive right in today. I have something that I really want to talk about. It's going to be at the end. So I hope you'll stick around because I need your help and your 2 cents or $1.50. So yeah. Okay. Here we go. What am I gonna wear today? You guys, I'm so excited. My Lumi cowl came out last week and here I am. I'm gonna find the wrong side of it, but it's hard to find. Oh, there's the seam. Okay, so this is my Lumi cowl. I showed you my Lumi shawl a couple weeks ago. I'm not going to tell you the whole story here because I have a whole video about how the Lumi cowl came to be. So I'll link that below if you're curious about all of that. But you know me, I love bold, and this is bold. And I'm just so excited about it. This is knitted wit yarn, and I'm just gonna put it on over my noggin and then take the bottom part and pull it kind of forward and see if I can get it to lay a little flat in the front. And then I'm gonna take this side and I'm going to fold the front down. So it's like ripples, ripples, ripples. I love it. You know me, I couldn't have just one, so I made 2, and I may have yarn stashed, like I can see it right there. I pulled some yarn out of my mom's stash for a third, because who doesn't need a third? But this is a scrappy version, obviously, but I thought, some people don't keep their scraps, don't like the bold look of a scrappy version. So what if I had a real good excuse for buying that mini skein set I've already fallen in love with and made it out of mini skeins? So that's what I did. This is a 5 skein, like mini skein set, and a one full hank held together. So you can see when you get closer up, this is 1 skein, 2, 3, 4, 5. The top colors blend together a little more than the bottom colors, but yeah, I love it. So instructions in the pattern for both the scrappy version and 5 mini skeins. Yeah, this is yarn from Nanette Wake Creations. I hope I'm saying that right. I've done unboxing. I did an unboxing of this in the past, and I've purchased this yarn and that woven project bag. She does amazing work, so highly recommend. All the links below for the patterns, for the yarns. You don't need to hunt them down. So check out these small businesses. Also, there will be a link to the introduction video so that you can go check that out if you'd like. What else do I have? Oh, what is bringing me joy? Friends. Friends. I'm going to pick it up off the floor here. First of all, I love to carry my projects around in these little baskets when I am not taking them out and about, which I'm not doing with this project because, as you can see, there's a lot going on. I am so excited about this scrappy project that I'm doing. So I have a lot of scraps of fingering weight yarn. So I decided I was going to do a scrappy project with my fingering weight yarn. And here's what I've come up with. First of all, I gathered up a bunch of my scraps. I laid them all out on my table, and at first I was like, I'm just going to throw them all in. Whatever I pull out is whatever I pull out. And then I was like, no, I want to be more strategic. And so I was like super strategic. And then I was like, no, I want to be less. Clearly, I'm good at deciding things. So I finally settled on like blues and grays. And don't judge me. Don't judge me. Blues and grays. And what I call kind of more neutral, and then on purples and bolds, which you're not really going to be able to see super well in there. And so what I'm doing is I'm holding them together, and I'm working my Winslow cowl. So that's designed for a fade, but I'm kind of leaving out the fade. Or I'm supercharging the fade, I guess, whichever one you want to call this. And so what I'm doing is I'm working the wide version of it, and I'm just changing colors. Some of my skeins, I've used the whole thing, but some of my skeins are really, like, this is leftover from my poppy shawl, and that's a lot. So what I've been doing with these bigger ones is I've been using them for a little bit and then switching them out. And so I'm holding 2 strands, one from each of these, together and working the wide cowl, but I think I'm going to work it super tall so that it's like mega scrunchy. So, but look at those colors, you guys. You guys. I love a good marl. I love how the colors play together, how when you switch yarns, one yarn, it can change the whole look. So, yeah, it's so fun. So fun, so fun, so fun. So you can see, like, I changed one yarn here, and then it's the same, but with a different yarn here. And look how it just changes the whole look of it. Whole look of it. It's so fun. So this is a great way to not be bored, because you just constantly have new colors, and you just really get to see, especially in those variegated yarns, like, it's a constant, like, shifting of the colors. It's so fun. Can you tell that it is bringing me joy? Okay, let's talk small businesses. What was that? I don't know. I'm drinking coffee out of my coffee mug from Hello Fern. This is a childhood friend of mine who makes this, and she's lovely. And I just recently saw that she has new mugs. So definitely check her out. This has been, I mean, you know how I feel about handmade mugs. It's best to drink out of a handmade mug. I have been on the search for a new handmade mug. I don't know if I told you guys. I purchased a handmade mug when I was in Arizona. It came. It took a long time to come. It came, and it was 2% like the picture on Etsy. So I'm not going to go into it. I returned it, and I'm just disappointed. I want the mug that was in the picture so badly, but it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. So whatever. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. So if you have a mug maker that you love, and then I can actually, like, go buy a mug from, because a lot of people who update shops do it at, like, Saturday midday. I'm teaching a lot of times. I can't catch that. Anyways, yeah. Hello Fern, though. I just popped into her shop to grab the link, and she has some really cute mugs. So go check her out. Earrings. These I'm loving. I love the geometric. I love the black and white. And I don't know, this is, again, I don't know how to say it, Bealery, which I shared a pair of earrings from this shop before. And I got to tell you, one of the things I love about this, can you see? I don't want it to focus on me, but I want you to be able to see. See how thick that is? And I don't know, it looks like they attach 2 layers of the leather together, which makes for a really nice sturdy earring, but not any heavier. I just feel like these are really gonna last. And like when they like bump into things, sometimes, you know, with more flexible earrings, it'll like bend the shape of the earring, and that's not gonna happen with these. So love these, love these. Okay, don't be mad at me. I have a little acquisition to share with you. I'm not going to call it an unboxing. And let me preface this by saying I didn't purchase this. But even if I had, it would have been a relatively small purchase, especially compared to all the yarn I shared with you last week. So, way back in January, which now that I say that, January was not that long ago, why does it feel like forever? I feel like January was eons ago. Okay, so at the beginning of the year, one of the things I shared with you, now I'm doubting myself. Did I share it at the end of the year? No, I'm pretty sure I shared it at the beginning of the year. Anyways, doesn't matter. Back a while ago, I shared with you some ways to track your yarn projects because I have found that that I never give myself enough credit if I don't keep close track of the yarn projects that I finish up. And I do that in several ways. In my planner, I keep a list of finished objects as I finish them. I keep all my yarn bands. That's partly because a lot of times I need them to go back and look for designs that I've made. And then I also keep a jar of ends. When I snip off my ends after I weave them in, I put them in there, and that's been fun to keep track of. But I've had a couple people say to me, okay, it's fun to keep your yarn bands, but Sarah, I'm not a professional crafter, and I don't have a craft room. Where the heck am I supposed to keep all those yarn bands? Like, they're essentially trash, right? And where am I going to keep them to hold on to them, but not have them be in the way or just an extra clutter around the house? So my friend Bonnie of Woodland Stitchcraft has the solution. So she said to me, this is a new product for her. She has so many cute like little notepads and printables and stickers and shirts. So much cute stuff in her shop. I'm going to put the link. I'm going to show you what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what she sent me. I'm going to put the links to those, but you must then go check out the rest of her shop because she has so much cute maker stuff and adorable patterns too. So this was a new product for her, so she was like, I just want to try to send it to you, and I need you to just tell me, like, does it arrive safely, and does it arrive, like, not all beat up? So she sent it to me, which was very kind of her, and it did arrive safely, which is fun. But it's the solution to those of you who want to keep track of how many skeins of yarn you have, but don't have a place to keep your yarn bands. This is it. So it's this adorable little notebook. I love the size of this because it would be easy to like just stash somewhere simple, whether it's where you keep your crafts. Like I know a lot of people have like those rolling carts. You could just slip this in your rolling cart, or if you want to keep it in a project bag or a notebook that you use, or even slip it in your planner. She has the cutest pattern for little bookmark toppers, and she's put them on like giant paper clips. And so this would be, you could make one of the little clip toppers and put this in your planner and use one of the little paper clips to clip it in place. That would be fun. So when you open it up, so it's your yarn count. And so when you open it up, look at that. There are all those adorable little skeins of yarn. And so every time you use a skein of yarn, you just color it in. And it's like pages, so you're never going to run out. So much fun. You could even, when you use a skein, keep track of it like here. And then like halfway through, you could say scraps. And every time you use up like every last little bit of scrap of something, you know, within your own reasonable amount, you could color in those too. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, so she could mail this to you, this actual physical notebook, or there's a downloadable one that you can print off yourself. So you can print it and keep it in a full sheet, or trim and make it into your own little book if you're fancy like that. So much fun though. So I really wanted to share that with you. So kind of an unboxing, but like, don't give me too hard of a time. I did have a box come from, I bought some spindles. My husband was like, what is this? What is this box with like Greek writing on it? And I was like, it's not Greek, it's Russian. I bought some spindles. They're the coolest thing. I'm not going to show them to you, but they're like spindles for spinning yarn. Have I learned how to do that yet? No. Should I? Yes, I should, because I certainly have all the supplies. But it's a spindle, but it's got like bobbins on it, so you can spin for a while, and then you wrap your yarn around the bobbin, and then you can take the bobbin off and use the same spindle to spin more. Genius. So yeah. But I purchased that back in December. But you have to go on a wait list because her thing, she's that popular. I'll put a link. I wonder if she has a shop. I'll figure it out. It's, I want to say like Cherry Carry. I'll figure it out. I'll put a link below if you're into spindle spinning, or if you just want to collect all the things before you even know how to do it like I did. You can go check her out. She's very nice. I chit-chatted with her as, you know, like I had to message her and get on her wait list, yada, yada, yada. So she's very lovely, and I have them now. They look gorgeous. I don't know how to use them yet, though. I'm going to get to that. All right. Just two quick announcements. The Lumi cowl is out and about. Go grab it. Show me your scrappiness. This is 2 strands of fingering weight yarn held together. I was just telling my Scrappy chatty group that I would love, I move it when I start this, but I have a whole basket of worsted weight scraps from doing my tiered pattern system, and I'd really like to make one of these with just a single strand of worsted weight but scrappy. So we'll see if I get to that. Oh, if I had all the time in the world. And my hands wouldn't fall off. Because, you know, I could sit and crochet all day, but I'd be like frozen from too much repetitive motion. That's a pretty thought, isn't it? Speaking of my Who Gives a Scrap chatty group, Who Gives a Scrap is going on right now. You can join us on Instagram, Facebook, or Discord. People are chitty-chatting and making lots of beautiful things and sharing lots of great ideas. So get into one of those groups and let's make some scrappy stuff this month. It's a month long, but it runs from like mid-February to I was going to say April. That's not a month. To mid-March. So you still have time. February is coming to an end, but we still have like 2 more weeks. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, are you ready? It's time for some questions. If you have a question, I would love it if you would go to the show notes below. There's a little link. You can type in your question click the link, type in the question, share it with me. I'd love to answer your questions. Question number 1. I was so excited for Who Gives a Scrap, but now that I've gathered up all my scraps, I'm overwhelmed. How can I find the right project for my scraps? This is a great question. So this is my first year doing this event. As I have done events for a couple years, I kind of get a good gauge of like the flow of the event and how it works. And I underestimated how organized you people are. You did not take much time to organize yourselves. And so I didn't push out scrappy project ideas right away, and I really should have. So I better make note of that, because I probably won't remember. And I'll be better next time. But let's talk about some ideas. So I really think it's important before you go searching for a project that you do what this person has done, and that you gather your scraps and kind of organize them a little bit. Some people, not me, were incredibly organized. They had all their scraps together. They had them organized by weight, some even by color. Come to my house, please, and organize my stuff. Mine's not like that at all. I finish up something and I have several places that I just toss them. Not organized in the least. And so you need to know what you have. And I would say, no, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say the best place to start would probably be with the scraps you have the most of, but not necessarily. So once you know what you have, then you kind of have an idea of the materials you have to work with. Because if you're like, I'm going to do a scrappy sweater in fingering weight, and you have like 100 grams, excuse me, of fingering weight scraps, you are not making a sweater out of that, unless you are doing like a scrappy color work yoke, and then you're going to purchase yarn for the body, which is possible. So I guess my first tip is scrappy projects don't have to be all scraps. Like, this is all scraps, and that's fine and dandy, but you could take your, 5 skeins of fingering weight yarn and put them in the yoke of a sweater, and then buy or grab from your stash full skeins to finish out the arms and body of your sweater, the main part of the sweater. That's a scrappy project too. Mega bonus win if you are pulling from your stash. Not that I don't encourage yarn purchasing, I do. So once you know what you have, then you can say, I wanted a full sweater. Do I have enough to make a full sweater? Then you can kind of decide what direction you want to go in. So a great way to use up scraps are small projects. So things like cup cozies, coasters, small cowls, bracelets, headband, ear warmer situations, garland. My friend Amber of Amber Bliss This has lots of fun earrings, but if you make those exact earrings in worsted weight yarn, you can end up with, like, instead of an earring, you can end up with like a larger piece, and you can make it into a garland. So you can have like leaves or flowers, or she has like a cute pine cone and acorn. You could come up with some seasonal garlands that could go into your, decorations, your seasonal decorations. She has like some Christmas trees and some poinsettias, so any of that kind of stuff could go into a garland. for a kid's room, for your mantle, for your front door. I think of garland as like kind of swaggy, like across the mantle or down the stairs or something. But you could, this would be fun, instead of hanging them horizontally, you could hang them vertically. And I have a big door decoration, and it's fabric, not yarn, but it's rainbow colored fabric. Like the strips are different colors of the rainbow, and they're hung on a branch, and then I hang that on my front door. And so it's like my whole front door almost. I have a black front door. Almost my whole front door is like this bold, beautiful, colorful rainbow. And then I have a little wooden decoration that I made with my mom that says "Be kind" and has like a bee on it. So you could do that with snowflakes or stars or tulips, and have those like hanging down the front of your door, and then put like a bunny on it or put nothing on it and just have it be fun and pretty. Wouldn't that be great? If you want to go real wild and real big, you could like put it on a curtain rod and have it come all the way down. Also great for appliques, small projects like that. So applique on a hat, flower on a hat, make a little flower and put it on a pin. So lots of great small projects you can use. So that's my first suggestion, make a small project. My second suggestion is make it stripy. Whether that means taking something that doesn't have stripes and adding stripes, or taking something that already has stripes and just using scraps for the stripes instead of using full skeins. So all of my Wayland patterns, so I have a cozy, bag, a cowl, a hat. All of those, that's the stripes of the diamonds. You could do each stripe in a different color and use up your scraps. Or, again, if you don't like the look of something fully scrappy, you could use one skein and then some kind of coordinating scraps, and you could do one row in your skein, scrap, skein, scrap, skein, so that there's some uniformity to it. So add stripes to a sweater, add stripes to a hat, add stripes to a cowl, make a stripy blanket. All of those things are great for using up scraps. And then my other suggestion is do it marled. So this is marled, my cowl. This is marled. So what it is it's just holding two yarns together to create a heavier weight yarn. So let's say you've got a bunch of worsted weight scraps, okay? And you're like, I want to make a blanket, but I don't really want to make a worsted weight blanket. I want this to work up like fast. You could take your worsted weight scraps and hold the worsted weight double and work a bulky blanket. You could hold it triple or quadruple and work a super bulky blanket. And you could follow a pattern, or you could just work a stitch that you like. I did this guy back here is a Scrappy blanket. I did a corner to corner because I'd never done it before, so I just wanted to try. And I just made up the pattern. I just had some skeins from past projects and from the clearance section. And so I just took those skeins and I made stripes of however long I wanted them to. But you could also just do a corner to corner, just pick a stitch, and you could just every time you run out of a yarn, pick up a different scrap and just keep adding in no particular pattern. It would end up looking, so this is in a pattern. So each of these stripes, I switched both colors. That was very intentional. That left me with some scraps still, which is fine, but it turned out exactly how I wanted. This guy, on the other hand, I'm using up all of the scraps. Some of them I'm cutting and reusing so that there's not a huge space of too much similarity. But quite a few of these yarns, I've used up the last little bits of the yarn because I just used them until they ran out, and then I picked up the next thing. So a blanket like that would be awesome. Yeah, so make it marled, hold the yarns together, make it stripy, make it marled and stripy. Make something small, or use your scraps for a small piece of something like a color work. So those are my suggestions. I'm going to go through, I'm not going to try to off the top of my head think of stuff. Okay, I'm going to off the top of my head think of a couple things, and then I'm going to take a real good think about it and actually look at my patterns and list some patterns in the show notes below with links. So I have lots of cup cozies and coasters. That would be great for small projects. I have several like small bags that would be great for, oh dear, there's fur in my coffee. That would be great for stripy things. My Ellery hat has instructions. My Ellery hat has instructions on how to make it scrappy. It's a really cool, like, continuous, it looks almost like an ice cream cone because it swirls. It doesn't look like an ice cream cone because it's not that texture, but but it has popcorn stitches that swirl up and around the hat, and I give instructions on how to use scraps to make just the popcorns. It's a lot of fun, and it's not nearly as hard as it looks, so that would be a great project to use. I mean, if you've got a big scrap of something, you could probably get the whole hat out of Scrappy. Scrappy what? Out of scraps of yarn. I don't have it here anymore. My Arlet cowl would be great for using fingering scraps. I did that with I made it with a mini skein set, but you could very easily do it with scraps as well. And that made really fun having all of the different colors repeating. What else? I said my Whalen stuff. My Winslow would be great for scraps, both the worsted and the fingering weight version. My Cordelia shawl is stripes. I believe that pattern has yardage per stripe, so you could make the whole thing scrappy instead of, you know, it's going to take you're not going to make it out of little tiny bits, but you could make it, you know, if you've got some partial cakes left over, you could probably make it scrappy too, and that would be lots of fun. So yeah, those are my suggestions. If you have a scrappy project that you love, please leave it in the comments below. Link right to the pattern. I'm happy to have people share other people's patterns. So knitting and crochet welcome. So not that you need another hobby or I need another hobby, but if you want to use up some scraps of yarn, I'm going to try my hand at weaving, because I have a loom from my childhood, and it was something my mom was big into before she passed away. So that would be a great way to use up some scraps too, is in a weaving situation. So there you go. Okay. Question number 2. This one's different. Here's the deal. this is a question that I have for you. I have been percolating about this for a long time. And I keep telling myself that I don't need one more thing to do. And do I need one more thing to do? No. Am I going to do this anyways? Yes. Yes, I am. Because why wouldn't I? Okay, here's the deal. There's something that I'm very passionate about. And I'm not going to be quiet about it anymore, I guess. So here's my question to you. Are you comfortable going into a local yarn shop? I would love for you to actually tell me below, are you comfortable? I would also love to know what would make you more comfortable walking into an unfamiliar yarn shop if you aren't comfortable. There was a time when I've told you before about that shawl that I made that I substituted the yarn and I was wrong because I was too scared to ask, and I ended up with a bandana instead of a shawl. So I am no longer uncomfortable. I think that has to do with A, my confidence in my craft, and B, just maturity. My local yarn shop owner, she and I are very similar in some ways. She bought a sticker that says, actually, I can. That's kind of been my whole attitude since teenagehood, at least. Fastest way to get me to do something, tell me I can't do it. Especially if you're a man telling me I can't do it. That's how I feel. Anyways, so I'm pretty comfortable going into any yarn shop, but I know that A, not all yarn shops are welcoming, and B, that not all crocheters are comfortable going into yarn shops, and C, that there are a lot of yarn shops who want to be welcoming but don't know how to be welcoming to crocheters. I love local yarn shops. I am so blessed to have just the most amazing and inclusive local yarn shop. It's just, I'm not going to go into it because I could do a whole episode about that. My local yarn shop is amazing. The owners are amazing. The community there is amazing. But A, that has been very intentional by Sarah and Sam. And B, I don't remember what B was going to be. It was intentional. And I'm very lucky for their intention that they put in to be inclusive in all the ways, not just in the crafting way. But I love local yarn shops. I love working with local yarn shop owners. I love teaching at different local yarn shops. It's always such an adventure. It makes me very nervous, but I always walk away just thrilled. So here is what I want to do. I want to be a mediator. Sounds like we're fighting, and we're not fighting. I want to be like an in-between person, a go-between between yarn shop owners and crocheters to help bridge the gap so that you as a crocheter can feel confident going into yarn shops, and so that yarn shop owners can be intentional so that they are welcoming to crocheters. I think there's a lot of layers here. I think A, for some reason, the majority of people who open yarn shops are knitters. So sometimes in their insecurity and lack of knowledge about crochet, they make customers feel that they're less than when they come in and say they're doing crochet, When a lot of times I think it's not that local yarn shop owners necessarily believe that crochet is less than, but maybe that they don't have a depth of knowledge of crochet that they're comfortable with, and so they're like, oh, what if I don't know how to help this person? So I think there's a disconnect there. I think there's a lie that crocheters are cheap and won't visit local yarn shops or won't buy the yarn. Talk to my local yarn shop owner. That's not true. We have lots of crocheters who come in, and really, crochet takes more yarn than knitting. So if you got people in there buying for crochet projects, they're probably going to buy more yarn than knitters. And you work through projects faster a lot of times. So again, more yarn. So I want to be here to help educate. And I mean this genuinely. Nothing against local yarn shop owners. I love ya. I really do. But I want to be here to help give some tips and ideas of how local yarn shops can build community and be more inclusive to crocheters. And then I want to encourage crocheters to step outside their comfort zone and go in and be present in these local yarn shops, because part of the way we become part of a community is by being there. Because if these yarn shop owners say, I want crocheters, come crocheters, crocheters welcome, and then we go, I don't know, somebody was mean to me once, and you say you're nice, but what if you aren't nice? And we don't step outside of our comfort zone and join their communities, then it reinforces the, well, crocheters don't use nice yarn and they're not coming in and blah, blah, blah. So, one of the things that I have thought of, I've thought of a lot of things. You know me, my brain is all the time. So many great shower ideas. At least I think they are. But I think that one of the things that makes crocheters feel welcome in a yarn shop is that when they walk in and see samples, most local yarn shops have samples of work around the shop. When crocheters walk in and see samples that are crocheted, they feel like that's like an unspoken, you are welcome. But like I said before, I think a lot of people who start local yarn shops are knitters, and so they don't know how or don't have time to learn how. Owning a small business is hard. I was just talking to Sarah about this last night. It's hard. So they don't have the time experience to make samples in crochet. So one of the things that I would like to do is I would like to connect local yarn shop owners or people, even dyers, yarn dyers, who would like to be more inclusive of crocheters, who would like crochet samples, but don't have the time or the knowledge or the skills to make it themselves, with crocheters who would like to make samples for local yarn shops and maybe even yarn dyers. I am very much at the beginning stages of this. So my question to you all, and I would love it if you would email me if you've got like a lot to say about this, like put in the comments, I'm sending you an email or something, and I'll keep an eye out for it. And I'll drop my email address in the under question number 2 in the show notes. I'd like to know what your thoughts are about it. I'd like to know, like, I've been trying to like rack my brain for like what makes this mutually beneficial to both sides. How is the sample maker winning along with the yarn shop owner? I want it to be a balanced relationship there. So I'm in debate of like, how much do I manage that? Do I just leave like a public, like here is a list I've gathered of people who are willing to be sample makers, local yarn shop owners, and people who want samples, like there you go. And then like everybody figures out the details on their own. Is this some sort of private group, kind of like the pattern testers group that I help run, where I monitor people, have to follow through and get kicked out if they don't? I got lots of thoughts, but no real answers. So I would love to know your thoughts. If you are someone who has thought that sample making is something you would be interested in, I'd love to know like what would make it beneficial to you, what is appealing about that to you, what would you need to make it reasonable. If you are a hobbyist and have no desire to be a sample maker, but you do have a desire to feel more welcome at local yarn shops, I would love to know what would make you feel more welcome. Yeah, that's my question. That's my question. So question number 2 is a question for you. I hope you don't mind me flipping it around on you a little bit there, but this is something I'm really passionate about. I love local yarn shops. I don't want to see them die out. I want to see them be successful. I want to see crocheters join in the community, and for us as a yarn community to thrive all together. So, and I know that that's hard. I know I'm not trying to be Pollyanna and saying like, that lady who was mean to you that one time you went into the local yarn shop, she just didn't know better. I mean, she may have just been grumpy. Maybe she doesn't want to include crocheters. I'm not saying everybody is wonderful. You know me. I'm not like a rainbows and sunshine, but I am hopeful. I am hopeful that there are people out there who also are hopeful and want to be kind and inclusive. I know there are. I've talked to enough of the yarn community that I know there are. So, okay, I've rambled on for a very long time. Thank you for commenting below and chit-chatting with me about this, or sending me an email. It's like all in my brain and I'd love to chat about it. Yeah, thanks for being here. I don't have anything else to say. You guys are the best. Have a great week and happy crafting.